Hey, good afternoon. A couple of, well, for you, Brittney, just in terms of these last 5 games, and the strides that have been taken, where do you think you've seen the biggest improvement, as far for the team? And for you, Arella, where are you starting to find more comfort spots out on the floor, and what are some things you're still working on?
You go ahead first.
Me?
Yeah.
I'd say we've improved tremendously in terms of spacing and decision making when it comes to playing as a team. Like, we're spacing the floor way more. Like, it's becoming more natural to get into those spots that Fish has showed us to get into, to really spread the defense out and really attack and find like the open man easier. So I say we're doing a really good job of that. And I think when we got the stat today, we're like number one. We're number one in defense, so we improved there, obviously, But it's something that we're going to keep striving for. We really are hell bent on making sure that we create so much havoc on defense that our offense becomes way more easier. Tag.
Thanks. For me, I would say the areas I'm improving in, like Slim said, is just spacing, learning to play off the ball and be ready to shoot when I have open shots, take the first one. Also, I feel like I've been really finding a groove defensively with this team, learning to just feed off my teammates' energy, disrupt the offense, and let that basically transition into my offense and make it a lot easier for me. I think just improvement-wise, continue to be better every day. Just trying to get 1% better every day. Offensively, slowing my game down and learning to make right reads and transition into this league.
That was nice.
Over to Sabrina Merchant, SB Nation.
Hey guys, Brittney, just to follow up on that offensive question, you're saying you guys have improved your spacing over the last 5 games or so. Is it a matter of changing your scheme, or do you think you guys have just gotten better at what you were trying to do at the start of the season?
No, I just think it's just one of those things where we know as a team we work well with space. So Fish has given us the positions like on the floor, where to be, or if certain situations happen, like where you would want to be, where you would want to place the defense, so we're not really getting in each other's way. We were kind of doing that in the beginning, and now we're spaced out to the point where we're passing up shots because everybody's so open. So instead of passing up those shots, now we have to take those shots that we have made good to great.
We'll go over to Chantel Jennings with The Athletic.
Guys, thanks for your time today. Question for both of you. This season's a little bit interesting. One of the hitches of scheduling with COVID is that a lot of teams have 2 games back-to-back against the same opponent, which is kind of new and different this year. I'm just curious, is that something you guys like when you're working on growth? Does it sort of benefit you to have back-to-back games against the same opponent? I know you've only done it once this season, but you'll do it 5 more times this year?
Rel's new. So she'll kind of, I think it's bittersweet, because we're so used to playing and then going on to the next, and now playing in the same city twice, it forces you to have more of a playoff mindset. You kind of get into that playoff feel early in the season. Like, you don't really start to feel it until you get to that last game of a series when you're playing the best of 3 with these teams. Now that series is over within a weekend. Like, you can go from at the top to the bottom depending on how you handle the series during the weekend. So it puts a lot more pressure on standings, which I like, and it puts you in a different mindset. It's not just, we can get them the next time, because that next time is literally 48 hours from today. So it just really gets you in that mindset of just being ready all the time, and knowing that those little things is what's going to carry us through when we have those games when we're playing a Phoenix and a Phoenix.
Yeah, I agree. It's a bittersweet moment because it's already hard to beat a team twice throughout the season. So to beat a team and play them back to back, you just have to mature faster. And Brittney said, it's my first year, so it's forcing me to mature faster. And, you know, with the legacy of the Sparks and how they handle their postseason, and I think it's better for me as a rookie. It's going to force me to grow faster.
Grow up.
Grow up.
A question in the chat from Rafiq Lewison. How do you feel about the team's progression this season? You won 4 out of 5 after starting 0-2.
You got
Oh, that's for me?
Didn't specify, so Arella, you can take this one.
What you got?
I love the team's progression. I think we're continuing to find each other, continuing to grow together, and just figure out the best ways to make each other better every day. Also, I think we're just coming into our own. We know we have something special with this group, so like E said a couple games ago, nothing great ever came easy. So we're just continuing to work these kinks out.
I like
Chris Camilla with Nightcast Media.
Good afternoon. Brittney, question for you. You know, Derek talked about how you wanted to be Defensive Player of the Year, so just to kind of speak on that. And 2, have you kind of taken it upon yourself to kind of captain this defense and hold people accountable, be that vocal leader on the floor as well?
I mean, yeah, I feel like we hold everybody accountable, you know, like it's not just with defense, but for sure, I'm definitely eyeballing the defense a little bit more when it comes to our defensive scheme. Arella can tell you, I'm usually on her when she's in the game. Like I told her, I think it was the Chicago game, I was subbing in for her, and I told her after the game, I'm like, Diamond only did a jab step and got past you. I was like, you made me mad. It's like little things like this, like you made me mad. It was just a jab step, like, come on. But nah, I mean, Depoy I'm hell bent on getting that. So I think I kind of just worked my way into that leader, I guess, when it comes to being like a defensive head of the snake. I don't think it's just me. It takes more than just me, but in order for me to be who I am on the floor and everything that you see, it's because of the 4 that's behind me, the other 3 or 4 that's on the bench that's talking to me. I can only move the way I move because I trust my teammates behind me. So it's kind of hard to like see it as like I'm the leader, because it's like I really can't function properly without knowing that I got my team, like we're a unit. Like I can move as a unit because initially that's how we're all moving on the floor as one.
Time for 2 more. We'll go to David Yapkowicz with the next.
Oh, David!
Hey, you're working on your playmaking game?
What's up?
No, I said you're working on your playmaking game.
Yeah, man. I hope I give you a little something. I got a little more assists this time.
No, but yeah, for after the last game, Coach Fisher talked about how the team's kind of developing a little bit of a gritty, kind of tough mindset. Especially on the defensive end. I mean, you always play like that. You've always brought that tough mentality on the floor. But just what have you been seeing out of the rest of the team in terms of really having kind of that tough mindset, especially on the defensive end, and needing that kind of mentality to as a blueprint to keep winning games?
I love it. I think AG she ripped the ball out of the post hands, like one possession, and I'm like, yeah, I like that like, yeah. I like stuff like that, I think it was like another possession, like E came down, got like a tough and one, or Nia punching people's shots, like all those things add up, and to speak on, I think somebody had asked, about the 2 games in a row. You need that when you're playing a team twice. Those moments where you think, oh, I'm gonna let them get the rebound, that's probably 1 more inch of energy that we're giving them. So now when we get the Arellas and the Nias doing the things that they do, now those teams are like, man, they're tough. Like there's no let off moment. There's no moment where they can be like, oh, we can get them right here. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, we gotta catch them on a bad day. So I mean, that's the way we look at it. That's the way I'm looking at it. And that's the way we come in. And like I said, I love it. I like dogs on my team.
Last question will go to John Davis with Winsider.
film and self-assess, are you seeing opportunities where you can get to your spots better offensively to?
He might have to run that back.
Yeah, can you say that question back?
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Yeah, John, you missed the beginning of the question. You could speak up a little bit and rephrase it.
Okay, thank you so much. When you've had the opportunity to watch film and do some self-assessment, are you seeing some opportunities where you can get to the spots that you want to get to offensively a little better?
Who's this for?
Both of you.
Yeah, for sure. But I think the main thing I'm seeing is just timing. With me, timing and taking the first to create the second with me. So I'm learning just to take the first shot when I'm open, and then it's going to create everything else. As I keep watching film, I'm going to continue to do a better job of translating that and fixing that on the floor in real time. But it's all a process. So yeah.
I mean, pretty much same thing. Just having confidence in my shot, and from watching film, just getting to those spots and being patient, like not going 1,000 miles per hour. I think I'm going slow, and I'm still going probably about 20% more than I should go. So just really, really keep practicing my patience, my pace when it comes to coming down the court and getting those shots. So other than that, everything was pretty all good.
Yeah, I think it's more mental than physical.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey Derek, thanks for your time today. I asked Brittney and Arella about this, but I wanted a coach's perspective as well. This season with travel, you guys are obviously playing a lot of back-to-back games against the same opponent. You guys have 6 of those this season, some teams have 8. I'm curious, is that something you like? I'm guessing there's less scouting like when you're playing the same team back-to-back, but Brittney also said that it has a bit of a playoff feel, so I'm curious, A, do you like it, and B, does it have that playoff feel as a coach with sort of middle day game adjustments?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, as a league, and I think, with teams, like we discussed the different possibilities a lot prior to the season, and, this felt like the right thing to do from the standpoint of, there's still a pandemic, and there's still a lot of people being impacted by COVID-19. And so if we could somehow, mitigate the impact of travel as much as possible as a league and still have a season, that's kind of the catalyst to the schedule being set up the way it is. So we feel like it's the right thing to do. We don't like it from the standpoint of like they're really good teams in this league, and having to play them 2 or 3 times in a week is not fun to have to prepare and plan for. But we do like it from the standpoint of it really testing you mentally as well as physically, knowing that, after one game, each team having the opportunity to make adjustments and change some things, whether it's lineup or rotation or, screen roll coverages, offensively, where teams are trying to look to attack you, etc. I think it's good to be tested in that way. And I think our group is embracing that part of it, and we'll continue to see how it goes going forward. But I do think it's the right thing as a league.
John Avon, Spectrum Sportsnet.
Hey, Coach, good afternoon.
Hey, Rashawn.
It seems like the last couple of games, you've been playing a lot freer on the offensive end. Is that true? And if so, how much does only having 8 players, Friday and only 8, or Thursday and only, 9 on Saturday kind of force them to do that?
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly what it does, and whether they recognize it or not. A couple of days ago we talked about like the good pressure that comes from knowing that you're going to have to be ready to perform every time you step on the floor. I think sometimes for us, because of the roster that we have, and when you start looking at NECA and Shanae and Jasmine Walker and players that have been out, Maria Vadiva isn't here yet. Like we have some firepower, and when everybody's around, sometimes people aren't sure about where they fit in, what their role is, how many minutes they're going to play, when are they going to go in the game. And so there's a lot of, questioning and second guessing going on. And so I think when the numbers get smaller, they're thinking about a little less and just going out and playing. They know they're going to get an opportunity to play. So it's just a matter of are they really ready? And I think so far our team has responded well, and we'll have to get back out on the road now and figure out on a kind of a shorter group and less bodies. How do we survive on the road? But I think Christine and Carly will be able to help us, at the right times as we prepare for these next couple games.
Brandon Merchant with SB Nation.
Hey Derek, this recent stretch of strong play for you guys has corresponded with Amanda Zawabi being healthy, for the first time this season. Mm-hmm. And I know there's just a lot to love about her game, but I'm curious if there was one thing that you had to pick out that has really helped propel your team. What would it be?
That's a great question. The fact that she makes shots, I think that has helped us a lot. She stresses the defense out, in different ways because of her ability to shoot the basketball. And so I think that's really helped us to find some better opportunities on the offensive end. If I had to pick one thing on that end, and then I think defensively her rebounding and just her voice, like she, people hear her when she's out there on the floor for the most part, and I think that's important to good defense.
John W. Davis and Lynn Satter.
With a changing roster, do you think you've had to make a more concerted effort to teach and be more vocal on the sidelines this season?
Yes. It was an objective and an area of growth for me coming into this season. And, I think with the way our final roster ended up coming together, it's raised the importance of that, even more. We're significantly younger, in particular with our players that we have coming off of the bench. And we have so many new players, even those that are veterans of, 3, 4, 5, 6+ years. Like, they're new to us and we're new to them. And so, making sure that they hear my voice more, understand what it is that, that I'm asking and that we're asking of them more often is important. And, for me, it doesn't come naturally all the time to try to tell a player everything to do. I really don't like to micromanage as a coach. But I do think it's important for players to have clarity from their coach. And so that's an area, again, that was a top priority coming into the season. And, I'm just embracing it and trying to find that balance again with making sure they hear me, but also one of the worst things you can do is for your players to start to tune you out because they hear you too much. So it's a delicate balance that I'm trying to manage.
Time for two more. We'll go to Chris Camello and Nightcast.
Afternoon, Fish. How are you today?
I'm good, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing well. Brittney, and you mentioned this earlier, Brittney wants to be Defensive Player of the Year. I just wanted you to comment on that. Is she making those strides and also being an extension of the coaching staff as far as holding everyone accountable on the defensive end? And obviously, going back to if you'll indulge me, going back to your playing days, that was sort of a role I thought you took on throughout your career. So do you kind of feel like that's an important aspect to have that vocal leader and the extension of the coaching staff?
Yeah, no, I think that, I think Brittney is really, challenged herself this year, to be an elite, defensive player. And, getting the opportunity with our team last season and, being second team all defense and really being a player that can cause problems for teams on that end of the floor, she wanted to grow and she wanted more. And, setting those type of, kind of barometers and goals and objectives for yourself can be good. So we're glad that she feels that way, and there's no question that even though she still plays, starter like minutes, like her defensive intensity and energy changes things for us when she touches the court. And, we think that, that's balanced us off a little bit more, especially on the defensive end since she's been back. The other part of your question, I think it's important. Like, I think about guys like Rick Fox, for example, more so than myself, who, always was willing to take the challenge of guarding the other team's, best perimeter players, sticking his chin in there to diving on the floor for loose balls, just being an irritant and a guy that people couldn't get comfortable playing against. And that was really key to a lot of our early success, with those championship teams in the early 2000s. Our second run together, I think about guys like Trevor Ariza and Metta World Peace, who impacted the game as much defensively as they did in hitting timely shots on the offensive end. So having players that are willing to accept the fact that everybody can't be Shaq and Kobe. Everybody can't be Pau Gasol and Kobe and Lamar Odom. Like, you have to find ways to impact the game. And great teams have players that are willing to be that. I think we have a group that is coming together in that way. People aren't competing against one another, they're competing for one another. And, we need that, and Brittney's one of our leaders in that regard.
Last question for today will go to Kahari Jones Jr. with the LA Sentinel.
Hey, what's going on, Coach? You had mentioned that players sometimes aren't sure about their roles, and sometimes they're not confident when other players are around. And also, you mentioned you don't like to micromanage as a coach. With that said, how do you help them build their confidence when it comes to playing?
Yeah, I think it's a process. Honestly, it takes a little bit of time for that to start to manifest itself. In time in the WNBA is something that's hard to come by. When you think about the limited number of roster spots, you think about the lack of time together in the off season. There is no summer league. There are no developmental contracts or players. There haven't been those opportunities, to work with players year round in order to, really start to build that trust and connection and the confidence that they need to go out within your system and what you're trying to do, for them to feel really good about it and really comfortable. So it takes time, and I think trying to communicate as much as possible, again, without being a coach that's always pulling on players for their time. These ladies play year round. They leave the W, they go overseas, they come back. They're mothers, they have other platforms and businesses and jobs that they have to really lean into to make the money that they don't make, as a player sometimes. So, there are a lot of factors that go into it. I think for me, I just try and remind them as much as humanly possible that they all have it within them, and that no coach, including myself, can do things that if they don't see it and believe it, and are really feel that power and that belief in self, like it's hard for other people to get you there. So I just try to remind them all the time of how great they are, And I think it's helped some of our players. Some other players, I can do a better job of making sure they always feel that, and making sure I'm always working at my communication so that they know how I feel about where they are and where things stand.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.